My name's Sharon Summer. I'm a first grade teacher at Raritan Valley School. I always knew I wanted to be a teacher. I grew up babysitting and playing with kids. I worked in daycare, and I always knew I just wanted to be a teacher. I feel that my role as a teacher is first to love my students and to make them feel safe and comfortable, and then our learning can begin. In first grade, we transition to the beginning stages from learning to read to reading to learn. And to see them when they're actually reading, and to see them reading a book and their eyes light up and they learn something themselves, reading it to themselves. So that's really amazing to see. I'm passionate about working hard, and I like to teach the kids that. They're building habits and they're learning really how to be students. My top priority as a teacher is to build a strong classroom community. I want my students to generally support each other. I want them to have high expectations of themselves and work hard for what they want, work hard for what they believe in. We like to have fun. The kids move around a lot. We have things that we call fun seats in our classroom. One of the other great things that I think I started in my classroom is we use brag beads. And it's just a little bit, a necklace that has these little beads, and we celebrate the good things that we do. If they get brag beads, my teacher's proud of me, or if they lost a tooth, or when it's their birthday. It's super important to connect with each student on their own level. They need to know that you care about them in order for them to even be able to learn. Living in the same town, I see kids all the time. I connect with them inside of school, I connect with them outside of school. They're always looking for you, and they're always looking out for you, and it gives you a reminder that what we do really does matter. All children are unique, and my role is to guide them to be lifelong learners. I provide a safe, welcoming, nurturing environment in my classroom, and I strive every day to bring an open mind, a positive attitude, and high expectations to inspire and encourage my students and all of my learners.
My name is James Schumacher. I work at Middle Road Elementary School, teaching grades 1 through 4 physical education. Being a teacher is a very high responsibility. It means that I have the future of the world in front of me every single day. I come to work, you have to empty the tank, you need to give these kids everything you have because they depend on you, they need you, and they look up to you. My top priority as a teacher is to make sure that I reach every single student in my class. Every single student comes to me with a different skill set and a different background, and I need to figure out how they learn best. One of the greatest things about my position is that I have every student in this school twice a week for 4 years. So I see every single student from the first day of first grade to the last day of fourth grade, and in that time I get to develop an amazing relationship with them, and I get to see their full scope of evolution in 4 years. What makes a teacher successful? At the elementary level, it's definitely enthusiasm. If students see that you're genuinely excited about something, then they're going to be excited, your audience is captivated, and it's your job to give them as much information as possible. I like to incorporate as much cross-curricular activities as possible. I throw in math, science, data collection and analysis, a little bit of history of sports, but I'd probably say that my best practice is incorporating world language. A few years back, I saw my students warming up and they were just kind of zoning out, counting in English. So I threw in Spanish, and then the next month the kids were like, "Mr. Shu, what are we counting in this month?" And I was like, "Japanese," from my martial arts background. And the next month the kids were like, "What are we counting in this month?" So they kind of forced me to learn how to count in about 10 to 11 different languages, just 1 through 10. The kids get really excited every month to see what the language is. Education has changed greatly in my short career. If you would have told me that I would have been teaching virtually when I was in college, I wouldn't even known what that meant. So I guess listening and adapting is how I connect to my students. Well, my teaching philosophy is I believe that an elementary teacher needs to be fair, firm, friendly, adaptive, and enthusiastic. Fair, there are no favorites. Treat every single kid the same way. Firm. Everybody plays by the same set of rules, and kids need guidance and structure. So being firm is really important. At the elementary level, we're laying the foundation for their expectations for education for the rest of their life. And friendly, they gotta like you.
Karen Williams, speech-language pathologist, Sycamore Drive Early Childhood Learning Center. I provide speech-language services to our preschool and kindergarten students, and this is my 32nd year in Hazlet. I chose a career as an SLP because it combined my interest in helping others and science. Communication is essential to our relationships and our development, and so much so for our youngest learners. I have the opportunity to improve a student's quality of life by helping them learn their first words, become more effective communicators, and make meaningful connections with their families and the community. A successful educator enjoys what they're doing and where they work. They're lifelong learners themselves. They use self-reflection to assess their own work and the progress of their students. I'd also add that they're flexible, collaborative, and above all, maintain a sense of humor. I would say the best practices that I use in my classroom are evidence-based practices, which include data-driven decision-making, researching the most current information regarding interventions to help our students, and also making sure that the activities I'm planning and the materials I'm using are appropriate to meet the need of the student. Connecting with students, particularly those experiencing developmental challenges, means meeting them where they're at. So you're going to talk about, play, and do what interests them. Making those early connections is so important to letting the students know that they're worth it and we're happy that they're here. You earn their trust, you see it and you feel it, and that's one of my favorite moments in my career, in my job. You see it and you're like, got it, and then that's when true learning begins, right? A love of learning and a sense of belonging. Every student deserves to have that.
My name's Chris Damian. I'm a 6th grade special education teacher at Cove Road Elementary, and I also am the offensive coordinator for the football team and an assistant coach for the baseball team at the high school. Being a teacher, what that means to me is being a role model, first of all. Someone that they can look at and say, that person does the right thing, and if I do what they do and show the effort that they show, I'll be able to be successful. During these hard times, during COVID and the pandemic, the kids being first and foremost was what got you through it, because it was hard to be a teacher during those times, but being passionate about your kids, looking for their success, trying to help them get better were definitely great motivators during that time. As a 6th grade teacher, my top priority is to get these guys ready for middle school. So we focus a lot on organization and responsibility and making sure that they're ready to go to really the next level. I think a good teacher wants to make sure that the students come in every day, they're in a comfortable environment, they're not afraid to fail, they understand that that's a good thing, not a bad thing, and they can learn from all their mistakes and, accentuate their positives. I just think structure is important for kids to come in every day, to kind of know where to look for the do now, to know what supplies they need, to have some expectation when they come in and have that met, I think creates that comfortable environment that I mentioned. I think relationships are the most important thing you can do, whether you're teaching, coaching, meeting someone for the first time. I think those relationships kind of help you provide examples that are familiar to them, because a lot of time in math, these ideas are so new and they have no idea how it connects to them. But if I can make a connection that I've just learned from talking about them, like we do icebreakers at the beginning of the year, and I try and take things from those icebreakers and this project we do to get to know each other, and just try and build off it. So I try and know how many brothers you have, how many sisters you have, what your interests are, so that I can relate the math or whatever topic it is to something that you can relate to, and I think it helps them learn. My teaching philosophy is to make sure that they leave better than they came. Having a positive attitude every day, having great effort every day. And those are things that I talk to them about constantly. I have a quote on my board that's been here from the first day, and it'll be here every year, and it says your attitude and effort are the things that you control. And if I can teach them that they control those two things, and if both those things they're doing with with a positive attitude and great effort, I think that, you know, the possibilities are endless for them, because they won't be afraid to fail, and they'll be able to overcome obstacles when they get in their way. So that's my goal for me to pass along, and obviously some math along the way.
Jennifer Christ, I teach at Beer Street School, 5th grade language arts, social studies, and I've been teaching 19 years. Being a teacher means that every day, every year, I get to be an influence, a positive influence on students' lives, and it makes me excited to know that that influence has an impact developing students' kindness and being responsible, and that they're going out into the world someday, and I actually had an impact on so many countless kids that come through the door, but just every day being able to come here and have that impact on students is just really meaningful. My top priority is connecting with my students and families. Those connections are what makes students want to work, want to do better. The way I do that is really just taking time to learn about them, taking time every day. You know, going to a game, going to see them somewhere, you know, even just complimenting them, just telling them, you know, oh, well, you know, I like the way that looks, or just certain things like that make them feel that, you know, it's not my classroom, it's our classroom. We're with each other, you know, for 180 days, and we're like a family, and letting them know that we are a family, and showing them that I care about them is really important, and those are certain ways I connect with them. I think what makes a teacher successful, and one of the most important things, is being flexible, being able to kind of shift on a moment, and I also think being able to collaborate with their colleagues, sharing best practices, and always reflecting, and making sure that my students, you know, feel comfortable. Some of my best practices in the classroom are just student engagement, and making sure that all of my students are working to their best ability and at their pace. My teaching philosophy is they're not always going to remember what you said, they're going to remember how you made them feel. And always being mindful of saying positive things to my students, because, you know, when you say those things to them, again, they're not going to remember exactly what it was, but the way that you make them feel, that every single student will always remember how you made them feel and the way you treated them.
I'm Lori Nickel. I'm the school nurse at Lillian Drive School. I've been the school nurse since 2015. I've actually been a nurse since 2004. I graduated from University of Delaware, but I was fortunate enough to land the Lillian Drive school nurse job in 2015. I decided to go into nursing to help others. I was raised by two teachers, actually, so the school nurse job aligned with the value of education that was instilled with me since I was young. Being a nurse is very exciting, and it comes with the ability to help others, especially in here, it's helping the whole community, parents, children, teachers, and it's really truly making sure that everyone has access to everything they need so that the students can come in, they're prepared to learn, they're prepared to stay healthy, trying to help students manage their chronic illness, whether it's diabetes or asthma, and just trying to make sure that everyone knows what they need to know and to do what they need to do. The role of the nurse has changed a lot drastically in the last 2 years. It's become extremely challenging, and it's always fluid and moving, and keeping everyone open communication so that everyone knows exactly what the protocol is at this time, making sure that anyone who has had trauma or loss gets the need that they do, staying open communication with teachers, our counselor, and our principal, the secretary, that everyone on board knows exactly what each and every student and family is going through, which is quite challenging, and has been challenging for the teachers as well. My ability, I feel like, to make children laugh, and laughter is one of the best medicines, I feel like it is. So we go in and we have a fun time and we learn whatever they need to learn through laughter and fun, because if they're not having fun, they're not really truly learning. So whether it's just how to wash their hands appropriately or deal with even just a paper cut, we're smiling and laughing our way through it. I'm trying to make sure that I treat every student as I would my own child. So they're getting that love and feeling loved, and I hope they know that I'm their trusted adult if they ever need to tell me anything. I try to connect with every student on some level, whether it's if they come in for a paper cut and they're cleaning their hands, I'm asking them, how'd you do at basketball, or what are you doing on the weekend, to try to just make those connections so that they know that if they have something exciting or something upsetting, that they can come to me and I'm willing to listen to any part of their day. My nursing philosophy is to make sure that every student is achieving their maximum potential, similar to what Hazlitt has as their mission statement. I've adapted that to be my nursing philosophy for Lillian Drive School. We keep open communication with the parents so that hopefully everyone is achieving their maximum potential.
My name is Paige Quigley. I work at Hazlitt Middle School and I'm a school counselor, and so I swap with the kids. So this year I'm the 8th grade counselor and next year I'll be the 7th grade counselor. I really wanted the chance to impact. I was working in a high intensity job. Everything was urgent, and I figured if I was going to be stressing out about work, it might as well be something important, and getting people's packages, or I was an event planner, and it was exciting, but it didn't really make me tick. So if I was going to be doing something, I wanted to be able to help people. You have to be able to relate to people. And I think that's the same with the kids too, and it's less about being their boss and more understanding them and their perspective and empathy and understanding kind of where they are at that moment and how to help them become the next best version of themselves. My philosophy behind everything today is meeting my kids where they're at and helping them get through to the next day, and then teaching them how to learn the right lessons or lessons the right way to be the next best version of themselves. I like to shoot it to them straight. I have a job to do here and they have a job to do here. And in between of all that, we're going to develop our relationship. We're going to be able to figure out who we are, because this is the only place that they are. This is their main setting for all of their life. I like to be open and honest with them as best as possible. So you can come in and tell me whatever you want to tell me, but know that I have a role to fulfill here, just like they have a role to fulfill here too. So I guess the transparency maybe is a good priority for me, and I need that in order for them to trust me. We have to be able to bond the kids to the teachers to the kids, the parents to the kids, the parents to the teachers, administration to the teachers, and everything in between. So we have a unique position to be able to connect with all of those populations. And I have to be able to get along with all of those populations, but also know what their priorities are and what is going to work best for them, to make sure that we can all kind of be on the same page for success. In grad school, the one thing they always tell counselors is don't overshare about your personal life. And I think they do that as a safety concern for some of the more clinical settings, but it's almost the opposite here. If I know more about kids than they ever wanted to share with me sometimes before they even get into my office, I have to be able to share a little bit about myself too. So I think being authentic and genuine in my efforts, I think is probably the trick to making it work. You can't bring 70% of yourself to work every day. You have to bring over 100%, and that is going to be when I'm tired because I have a newborn, or my kid's sick, or my mom is, or my spouse, whatever it is. Those are things that help connect with everybody. Work hard, play hard, and be able to reflect, most importantly. Every day you're going to have to ask yourself, is there something I can do differently? Is there something I can do better? Is there something I can learn more about? And I think that those are my life lessons really play out. That's why I like this job so much, just because whatever my philosophy in life can be my philosophy professionally too, is make those connections and continue to learn and grow.
Hi, my name is Matthew Dempsey. I'm a high school teacher at Raritan High School. I currently am teaching 3 sections of senior English, 2 sections of junior English at Avid. In 6th grade, I had a phenomenal teacher named Mrs. Maurer, and I was that typical student that hated reading. I'm not going to read, I'm going to find every way around it. And then I met Miss Maurer, and from then on forth, I knew I wanted to become a teacher. I wanted to be that spark like Miss Maurer was for me. Being a teacher means it's everything. I can't put a single thing on it. I love just being in the classroom. I love the excitement of the day. I love doing it. I couldn't see myself doing anything else besides being in front of a classroom and interacting with my students. And I hopefully am doing a good job. My top priority as a teacher is relationships. I've said it since I walked into a classroom. The importance of building a relationship, the importance of getting kids to trust us, getting students to just believe in us. I feel like if you establish that relationship, that's when education really gets that next step. I think the big thing for me is when I see them outside of school and we'll talk to each other. I'll introduce them to my family, or I'll introduce them to their family, and we do that. And that's something that's big to me, just establishing that relationship and let them know that I'm there for them, and I'm not just reading from a book and dictating, we're doing this, that I get it. At the end of the day, they're humans, they have lives, and some days they're gonna have bad days too. You have to bring energy, and I think one of the biggest things that I do is I always bring energy. The kids feed off you, and if I'm sitting at my desk head down, or if I'm kind of dragging, non-enthusiastic, I can't expect them to not match that. I always bring energy, I always bring effort, and I'm willing to try and fail. Education's constantly evolving and constantly growing, and it's not cookie cutter. You can't do the same thing over and over again. And I think humor's big too. I try to laugh and talk to the kids, and I let them teach me stuff too. And we're in that room together, and we have to enjoy our time together. My teaching philosophy, it's changed over the years. I think you have to be adaptable as a teacher. You have to find the balance between being, disciplining and controlling your room, but also, understanding. I want my kids to walk into my class and not dread it. They may not like what we're doing, but I don't want them to walk in, look at me, and kind of go, oh. And I think my philosophy comes down to just building that relationship and, making my class a place they want to be. We're all humans, and they're your students, but they have lives, and they're growing just like we all are too.